It's time for today's travel and cruise industry news. With the latest from travel and cruises around the world, here's your host, Chillie Falls.
Yep, little dude in the way. Get rid of the little dude. There we go. Good morning. I was punching the wrong button in the wrong order. Oh, well, it's Monday. Good morning. Welcome to Travel and Cruise Industry News. On this, what is today? The 19th day of July, 2021. I'm Chillie Falls, coming to you from Bedford County in Central Virginia, right outside of Lynchburg. Rainy morning here today. Maybe it's not going to get up in the 90s again today. Of course, this is a Monday, which is a therapy day for me. So I go across town to take my pulmonary therapy this afternoon. So, couple things to cover. Quite frankly, folks, there's not a great deal on the news front this morning that we haven't talked about already. A lot of stuff happened over the weekend, of course, that we've already discussed and already put videos up and the whatnot. But the first thing, of course, got to look at the weather. As long as we got these silly storms, and they are strange, quite frankly. The Hurricane Felicia that we thought was going to die several days ago has kept going. As of just before I went on the air, she's located about 1,460 miles west-southwest of the tip of Baja. So that she's getting over there, getting closer to the Hawaiian Islands. She's, southeast of the Hawaiian Islands currently. She's moving toward the west at about 12 miles an hour. A general westward to west-southwestward motion is expected during the next couple of days. She has started to weaken from where she was as a Category 4. Her maximum sustained winds now have decreased down to 100 miles an hour with higher gusts. Additional weakening is expected during the next couple of days. Felicia is a very small hurricane, this one kind of amazed me that it's still holding fast as small as it is. Hurricane force winds only extend about 10 miles from the center. Tropical force winds about 45 miles. So we're talking about a very small storm out in the middle of the ocean. The pressures come up a little bit. It's up to 979 now. It's down to like 946 or something. There are no coastal watches or warnings in effect due to Felicia. Now, the second storm, of course, is Tropical Storm Guillermo. We thought it might strengthen to hurricane status, and it didn't. The center of it is located about 545 miles or so from the west-southwest of the tip of Baja, California. Guillermo's moving toward the west about 15 miles an hour, so she's moving a little faster than Felicia. And the general motion is expected to continue for the next couple of days. Maximum sustained winds have decreased to about 45 miles an hour with higher gusts. Gradual weakening is forecast during the next couple of days. Tropical storm force winds extend about 115 miles out from the center of Guillermo. The central pressure is still over 1,003 millibars, and there's no coastal watches into effect for Guillermo. So you got two storms still out there in the Pacific that are going nowhere. They're not going to threaten land, and they'll eventually just die away and go wherever dead hurricanes go. And there's absolutely nothing in the Atlantic. Again, another sweet, clean day all the way across the Atlantic to the coast of Africa. So who knows? We were expecting a whole lot more in the Atlantic than we've seen so far this year, which is a good thing. All right. My lead story today came out over the weekend. The story written by our friend Robert McGillivray for Cruise Hive about Carnival Cruise Line adding smoke-free casinos. Carnival Cruise Line is making some changes by introducing a new separate casino, which will be just for non-smoking guests. The new venue is now on 3 Carnival cruise ships and could be rolled out to more because many people do not enjoy the smell of smoke. I'm one of them. I've complained about that from when I was on the Sunrise. There have been changes made to the Carnival Breeze, Carnival Dream, and Carnival Magic in the form of a non-smoking casino. The rules regarding smoking on board remain pretty much the same in the post-pandemic as it was before. However, for those that want a smoke-free environment, there's an option now for a different casino. Located inside the former convention room on Deck 4. Some of you have been in there if you've been to any gatherings or cocktail parties or group meetups on those particular ships. Many times those were held in that conference room. If you are ever noticed that a crew meeting, they were usually held in that conference room as well. But anyway, they've taken that conference or convention room, whatever you want to call it, and they've turned it into a casino. It's pretty much offering the same thing it's offered in the regular casino, only smoke-free. Although there will be no bar, there will be drink service. For now, the non-smoking casino will only be on those 3 vessels. Carnival, obviously, they got to study this and see what difference it makes to everything. But Carnival may decide to roll out this concept fleet-wide in the future, and that's clearly under consideration now. So they don't want to offend the smokers. They don't want to offend us that are reformed smokers. And it's a tough situation. That's a bad, no matter which side of that equation you're on. So the reasoning for this seems to be that people gamble and spend more when they can smoke. That was an interesting point. John Heald, of course, the ambassador over there, and he was back in England now after his sojourn over here to sail on the Horizon, said the financial aspect was the deciding factor to allowing smoking to continue inside the casinos, nightclubs, and casino bars. As for Carnival's newer ship, the Mardi Gras, the company has not yet announced its smoking policies on board or whether there will be a second venue for non-smoking guests while allowing smoking in the main casino. That has not been announced yet, so we don't know what's going to happen on the Mardi Gras. For the ships currently sailing, these are the smoking policies in place for Carnival Vista, Horizon, and Breeze. Keep in mind that Carnival has removed the casino bar from the Vista-class cruise ships and replaced it with more slot machines. That one has been debated whether that was good or bad. All right, the Carnival Breeze, cigarette smoking is permitted in the Winter's Luck Casino and Casino Bar, Liquid Nightclub, and outdoors on Deck 5, portside aft, outside the nightclub, and Deck 11, starboard side aft. Carnival Horizon, cigarette smoking is permitted in the Horizon Casino and outdoors on Deck 5, portside and starboard side forward, and Deck 11, starboard side forward and aft. And on the Vista, cigarette smoking is permitted in the Vista Casino and outdoors on Deck 5, portside and starboard side forward, and Deck 11, starboard side forward and aft. So that's the situation with smoking on at least 3 of the Carnival ships. There's going to be a non-smoking or a smoke-free casino, however you want to phrase it, whatever terminology you want to use. Interesting concept. It would be interesting to see what kind of action they get in both rooms. I would like to witness that on one of the ships. How the action is in the non-smoking room opposed to the action in the main casino. Be interesting. All right. Our friend Ben Souza put an interesting piece out. He is currently on, I'm not sure which Viking ship he's on, but he's circumnavigating Iceland, as we've talked about in the past. But he pointed out some things on Viking ships that where they don't charge, and many other cruise lines do. And I just thought that was worth pointing out. A lot of people look at Viking and say, oh my goodness, that's way too expensive. But look what you don't have to pay for. Wi-Fi, number one, that's free. One shore excursion per port. Now, in Iceland, they're in a different port every day. So that means you get a shore excursion every day included. 2 specialty restaurants. Now, on most Viking ships, they only have 2. Manfredi's, which is a well-known Italian restaurant. Many people feel it's the best Italian restaurant at sea. And the chef's table. All your room service is covered. Laundry service is covered. Those of you that like to do back-to-back cruises know what laundry service is like. It's a necessity, because invariably you got to wash out a couple pairs of undergachis or something, t-shirts or something. So you have to take part of the laundry service. The thermal suite and the spa. Now this, this includes stuff like the sauna and hot tubs and the thermal baths and a whole bunch of stuff in the spa that's included in the fare. The mini bar in the room. I don't know of anybody else that lets you do that you can open the mini bar and do a drink in the room without getting charged at the nose. Specialty coffees. Those of you that are hooked on Starbucks and stuff like that and take part, go to the specialty coffees rooms. I don't. I'm fine with plain old coffee, but that's just not my thing. Here's one that I would be into: sushi and crab legs in the World Cafe seafood buffet. So you don't have to pay extra for sushi. You don't have to pay extra for crab legs. And of course, all your taxes and port fees. So a price from Viking is actually what you pay without any of those add-ons. So that can make a big difference when you're looking at the price of a cruise. All right, for some of our friends on the other side of the pond, Ireland to open to vaccinated Brits today. Ireland is to become the first in Europe that fully jabbed British citizens can visit without the need for any COVID-19 tests. There'll also be no requirement to self-isolate if fully vaccinated after today. Sorry about that. I got a little tickle in my throat. Passengers may also be asked for proof of vaccination. The passenger locator form, which will be checked by the air or sea carrier before any departure, which must be completed by British visitors. On arrival in Ireland, British visitors will need to have proof of full vaccination, for example, showing their NHS app COVID pass, a vaccination status letter, or their vaccinating paper card. Passengers without proof of vaccination will require evidence of a negative PCR test within 72 hours prior to their arrival in Ireland, and will have to quarantine for 14 days or a minimum of 5 days if they prove negative with a second PCR test provided by Health Service Executive in Ireland on day 5. From today on, children under the age of 12 will not need to take a PCR test prior to traveling to Ireland. Children aged 12 to 17 who are not fully vaccinated will need to show a negative PCR test upon arrival in Ireland, even when traveling with fully vaccinated adults. It is anticipated that indoor hospitality will recommence on July 26th in Ireland. That would be like bars and restaurants. Indoor hospitality will only be available to those who are fully vaccinated or with proof of recovery from COVID-19 in the past 6 months. So they're accepting if you have had COVID and aren't vaccinated, which is an interesting distinction. I know several people that have had COVID and still got the vaccination because they wanted the extra protection. Those that are staying in hotels will be able to avail of the indoor hospitality options within the hotel starting from today. All right, that's it for the news story. But as most of you know, tomorrow, retired Amazon head honcho Jeff Bezos and his brother and an octogenarian lady and a teenager are going to get blasted into space out there in the desert in Mexico, much like Mr. Bronson did last week. They actually don't go into full orbit, but they go past the 50-mile limit. I mean, there's some technicalities involved with this, but anyway. I have a question for you guys. If money was no object, the cost had nothing to do with it, your ability to pay for the ticket would have nothing to do with it, would you get on one of those things and get shot up into space? Would you like to be one of those 4 people that are doing this tomorrow? Drop the answer in the chat box or in comments. I'd be willing to know. Personally, that's probably one thing that I would not be afraid of. I have never been bothered by anything to do with being in the air. I love to fly. I've flown on every kind of plane you can fly on at one time or another. I've jumped out of planes before. Not many times, but 5 times. 4 or 5 times. 5 times, I believe it was. 4 or 5. But anyway. Air travel has never bothered me. I probably would do that. And I have all kinds of fears and phobias, and the 2 places that I don't have phobias is in the water, on a boat, from anything to do with water, I'm good with, or in the air. Now, put me on a 6-foot ladder, I'm panicked. But on an airplane, I don't care. That doesn't bother me. So I probably would. Of course, I don't have the $2 million or whatever the hell you got to spend to do it. But if money was no object, yeah, I probably would. All right, let's go see who's talking to us today. I did glance over to make sure that you guys could hear me. Amy's with us. Howdy, Amy. Cindy's here. Hey, Cindy, how you doing? Gretchen. Hi, Gretchen. That would be John Reitmeyer. He's with us from up in Minnesota. He says, a good morning to everyone. The summer is going past quickly. 11 days till his birthday. And yes, I'll become 70 years old. Party is a young pup. Just a young pup. Party is on Saturday the 31st. Please RSVP if you are coming. I wish I could. That would be a hoot. And yes, we will definitely wish John a happy birthday. John says this is his computer that's set up for work. Chat Canna, of course, has to do with his pot farming. Nikki's here. Hi, Nikki. She's down in Jacksonville. Emily's with us up in New York. Hey, Emily. Tom Henry's with us from Richmond. He says, hi, everyone. Coming from the car in the parking lot at Yoder's Market in New Holland, Pennsylvania. Oh, you're up in Pennsylvania. Yeah, I've been to Yoder's Market, come to think about it. That's it's Amish. Let's see, what did they have in there that I love to eat? It might have been banana pudding. Their food is really good. I've been to several Amish restaurants up in Pennsylvania, and they're awesome. Emily says, for those of you who did not catch the Amigo show yesterday, you definitely need to watch it. Thank you, Emily. Yesterday was fun. John and I carried on like normal. We had trouble with Martin's signal from the Golden Horizon, but he was there part of the time, and part of the time he wasn't. But we carried on, so it was fun. Tom says, have you called NCL, Emily, to adjust your air to 2 days earlier? Don't forget. And Tom says, I chatted on NCL with an agent to add the premium Wi-Fi to 3 cruises in 2023, including the Bliss cruise on May 23rd. Nice. That means that I can talk to Tom Henry from those boats. I know about that premium Wi-Fi business on NCL ships. Neptune Diner in Lancaster has the best French toast and home fries I've ever had. Yes, I remember the Neptune Diner as well. Last time I was up in those parts. There's once upon a time, and I'm going back a number of years, Tom, I had a little piece of property in the mountains of Pennsylvania. It had a cabin house on it, so I have a place to escape on the weekends and whatnot. And I hired they were actually Mennonite, a family, to build me a stone fireplace with a mantelpiece on it in my cabin up there. And they did fabulous work. And the Mennonites are a little different from the Amish. They're a little more Americanized. They do drive vehicles as opposed to the buggies, I'm not saying anything against the Amish, just their ways are, old school, real old school. And they don't necessarily converse very well with Americans. The Mennonites are a little more of a liberal, if you want to call it that, faction. And they'll work for Americans to actually, because they appreciate the money involved. So this Mennonite family worked for me, and we became, pretty friendly during this period of, I don't know, about 3 weeks that they did work for me. And one of the interesting facets of Amish life is called bundling. Now, that's when a young boy, teenager, and they're usually fixed up with a young girl of a neighboring a clansman person, the Amish person, and they are allowed to sleep together in the home of one or the other, the male or the female, in one of the other houses. They're allowed to sleep together. And in the bed, they put a board standing up, like a 6-inch board in the middle of the bed, so that the guy's on one side of the board and the girl's on the other side, and they're not supposed to cross. However, that occasionally doesn't necessarily happen that way. So there are occasionally, even in the Amish faith, some accidental pregnancies, which pushes the wedding up some. Yes. Fascinating people, fascinating work ethics. And if you've ever looked at an Amish farm, they're awesome, just awesome. When they have somebody has a barn destroyed, let's say a storm knocks out a barn, I don't know, they blow a trumpet, and 8 bazillion other Amish people, they all come running, and they rebuild that barn in like hours time. The guy that lost his barn's got a new barn because they know how important that is. Everybody in the community helps out. I find them fascinating, folks. Tom Henry says, "Where's the Bliss going?" Barcelona to New York. Emily says Barcelona, interesting. Barcelona is my favorite city in the world. I love Barcelona. You're the one that suggested that I book that cruise. Yes. Shoot me into space. John would go. I figured that. Cindy says, I have no interest in going into space. I just want a cruise. Well, I can understand that too. Amy says, no outer space for me. Emily says she would not. She has better things to do. Wow, I'd go in a heartbeat. I would not go with Jeff, too claustrophobic. Well, now, yeah, you have to be able to take some tight spaces. Gretchen says, I may want to get blasted, but never into space. Very true, Gretchen. Let's see. I know you usually book a couple cruises ahead of time. Emily, he's got like 17 cruises booked. There's just something totally insane. Emily wants to know, is that a virtual party, John? No, it's actually an honest to God real party, I think. Now, it might also be virtual, but I think it's a real honest to God birthday party. And I know as some of his folks from over in Europe wanted to come, but they can't because of the travel restrictions. So that had to go by the wayside. Nikki says Bliss goes from Miami to Barcelona, and 2 weeks later, after a redo, goes from Barcelona to New York, she thinks. All right, Tom says Amish buggies are gray and Mennonite buggies are black. I didn't remember that. I might not have ever known that. Mennonites have a number of sects going from the buggies to black bumper cars to almost regular type folk. Yeah, there's a pretty wide spectrum, Tom. I didn't remember the gray and black difference in the buggies, though. I may never have known that, come to think about it. Gretchen says, I got Jean-Claude from Willis Yoder of Millersburg, Ohio. They do business on the internet from booths on the side of the road, but never on Sunday. Yeah, that's true. Jean-Claude from Willis Yoder. Yoder is a big time Amish / Mennonite name too. That's like Smith. Gretchen says we went to his dairy farm. I bet you ate some cheese that they made too, which they're awesome. Just awesome. Why was my mic muted? I'm not sure. That's going to do me for today, guys. We've got a bunch of new subscribers. If any of you are new in the audience, feel free, if you come back again sometime, jump in the chat box and meet these folks. They carry on conversations amongst themselves all the time, which is fine. We always got to try to go back over it in case you have asked me a question or made comments that that prompt a story, like the Amish comment. I had no idea we'd talk about Amish or Mennonite folk today. We got over the 2,300 hump over the weekend, as I thought we would. I do appreciate that. So glad to have a bunch of you new guys on board. I'll be back same time tomorrow, 11 a.m. Eastern Daylight Time. Let's see, this Sunday on Cruise Amigos, Martin's going to be on board Anthem of the Seas. So hopefully the Wi-Fi signal will be a little better. We might talk to him a little bit more about Horizon 2. Then on Thursday, during this space, we're going to have a special guest. Our friend Janine is going to be with us from the Golden Horizon again. She is on board the Golden Horizon now, and hopefully she will have a better signal than Martin had. So, but we'll have to play that one by ear come Thursday. So we'll see. If the signal is not good, if Janine tells me it's not good enough to do streaming, then we'll tape something and go that way. But anyway, Janine's going to be with us to talk about the Golden Horizon and that beautiful 5-masted bark tall ship. So that'll be on Thursday as well. All right. That's it for today, guys. I'm off to therapy, so I get to go suffer through a bunch of crap at the hands of the torturers. See you tomorrow. Later, y'all.
I regularly post videos on all facets of the travel and cruise industry, so if you like to keep up with the latest in cruise ships, ports of call, cruises themselves, chilly chats, and travel and cruise industry news, just hit the little subscribe button in the lower right-hand corner, hit the bell notification so you'll be notified when a new video is up or we go live. This video was produced by Chillie's Cruises.